You guys, the craziest thing keeps happening to me, and I mentioned it in a vlog before. You're gonna think I'm insane, but you're gonna think I'm insane for today's technique anyways. Like, get ready to just crack up and actually think I'm insane. But if you try it and if you see that it works for you, which I think it will, make sure to come back and let me know. But my wrist keeps vibrating, and I wear a Fitbit a few times a week while I work out to measure my workout so I could improve. And I was just taking a nap and my wrist vibrated as I was waking up, and it vibrates randomly. I'll be driving and randomly it vibrates, and I'm not wearing the Fitbit. It's weird. It's strange. I don't know what's happening, but that's a thing. So today's video is about this shadow work technique that I use. You might hear Juju barking in the background. Separation anxiety, my loves. I read a book about your inner parent and your inner child, and while I read this book, it was years ago, so I don't remember which one it was, but I came up with this little weird thing, and it really works. It's strange how well it works. So I'm gonna share that with you guys today. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. Welcome to the Be community. On this channel, we talk about the law of attraction, spirituality, self-development, and so much more. As I was saying, today I want to share with you this really weird but really effective shadow work technique. And usually I don't talk about shadow work on my channel. I do have a program that guides you through a very deep and intensive full moon ceremony that is shadow work. But I wanted to share this with you guys. It's kind of a lighter way to delve deep into what your inner child wants and needs. Before we get started, I just want to give a big shout out to our sponsor today, my favorite, Audible! So if you don't already know, Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment. They have the largest selection of audiobooks ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs, personal development books, fantasy books, which I've been listening to lately. Everything you could possibly want, really. And they also have like meditation tracks to help you fall asleep, exercise programs. I've personally been an Audible member for years before I even started working with them. You guys might know that. And I literally use Audible every single day on my morning walks. I listen while I do the dishes, while I clean the house, while I walk Juju. I listen while I commute back and forth from California to Arizona. I'm always listening to an audiobook. So as an Audible member, you're gonna get 1 credit every month. That's good for any title in their entire premium selection. You're also gonna get access to their Audible's originals library. So I always like to recommend one of my favorite books that I listen to, and I have so many. If I show you guys my library here, I know you usually like to see what I'm reading. I have 82 titles. I've been a member for a while. What I'm listening to right now is my editor, Elena. She recommended I listen to The Pilgrimage by Paulo Coelho, and so far I'm really liking it. I'm just on the first chapter and it really sucked me in. I don't usually listen to like fiction books, right? But obviously it's the author of The Alchemist, so there's always a really good lesson there. So I recommend that. If you want to check out this book or any book, you can get it for free if you haven't already signed up to Audible. It's on me by going to audible.com/Leeor or texting Leeor to 500-500. You'll even get to keep the book that you choose forever, even if you don't continue your membership. And if you ever cancel your membership, they let you keep all your books. It's kind of crazy. For more information, go to audible.com/Leeor or text Leeor to 500-500. Okay, so I'm honestly just going to get right into this strange technique, okay? Bear with me. In every person's psyche, there's an inner child and there's an inner parent. And the inner parent is often condescending. They could be talking down to us, and they could also be nurturing and really supportive and responsible, and they're kind of running the show. Then there's the inner child that wants specific things like playing or more time with friends or to eat certain things, and there's this constant dance back and forth between the inner child and the inner parent, and they come forward when they need to come forward in our minds, and they do different tasks for us, kind of. This is obviously very subperceptual. It's unconscious. It's super subtle, so you don't know when a new energy is working within you. But this is basically, people who have a lot of trauma, their inner child child might need a lot more help. People who are really difficult and really hard on themselves might have an overbearing inner parent, which is this inner critic kind of thing. I found that a really good way to work with these two energies and to see what's happening there is to kind of allow them to converse. Now, I've talked about a different method before called feeding your demons, which is basically like isolating a negative emotion within you and seeing that emotion, that negative emotion or that negative thought or negative belief as a demon, sitting that demon in front of you and facing it, looking it in the face and being like, what do you want? What can I do? What can I do to stop being afraid of you? Like, I'm here, let's talk, let's work this out. And then really like listening and seeing what comes up for you. People have massive breakthroughs with that specific technique. And I think that there's a book called Feeding Your Demons that really details it very well. And you could look that up. Highly recommend it. This particular technique of allowing your inner child and inner parent to speak. So you know how when you're a kid, you would do these like hand puppets and you'd see the shadow on the wall and you'd make them talk. You're going to take your hands and you're going to make puppets. Now I want you to take your dominant hand. So for me and for many people, it's the right hand. That is the inner parent. The not dominant hand, I don't remember the word for it right now, the weaker hand or whatever, the less used one is going to be the inner child. So you start by sitting by yourself. You don't want to do this around people. Take it from experience. And kind of just sit with yourself. Start making the hand puppet sign already. And bring up an issue that's been weighing you down. So for example, for me, it's been my writing. I've been working on this book for a really long time. So I started to admonish my inner child, saying that with this hand, with my parent hand, right, inner parent, saying that everything that's needed to be written has already been written. So I was literally like, everything that's needed to be written has already been written. I went on to say that, I'm not serious. You're not, like, talking to the inner child. You're not serious enough. You're going to have a hard time publishing. You never finish anything. Publishing is difficult. You'll never get there. Now, my mom has always been super supportive of me. Always. She's so supportive of me. But when it comes to herself, she's never quite believed in herself and her talents and her abilities enough. And that stopped her from doing many things in her life. One of those things was finishing any of her books and publishing them. And I noticed that as I spoke with my dominant hand puppet, the parent, I realized that my intonation and my voice kind of sounded like my mom. Almost as if I had inherited these beliefs from her and it was a program that was going on in my mind. That's what's been stopping me from being able to sit down and just let creativity flow through and finish a book. So I then decided to intentionally raise my voice higher in intonation to signify my inner child. Starting to reply to myself, reply to the inner child. And you don't have to do the hand puppets, but when you externalize something, when you physicalize it, you can get a different perspective on it. It's very powerful. So I was very surprised that even though all I was intending to do was speak in a higher voice, like I suddenly had like this childish vernacular. The way that I expressed myself was kind of like a determined child pouting and speaking up to an adult. So my inner child, my left hand, started to express and communicate, and it was like, I'm creative enough. I can do anything I set my mind to. When my inner parent said, everything that's been written, everything that needs to be written has already been written, my inner child replied, I have a special way of saying things, and there are people out there who want to hear the things I have to say just the way that I want to say them. And the conversation actually ended up becoming increasingly more on the same side. As we worked through the issues, the inner parents started to become more supportive. And then the inner parents put out what they need in order to make this happen. And they said, okay, I think that you can do this, you're right, but you have to at least make a schedule or a plan or a routine for writing. You have to give some form to the writing. This is where things were kind of weird for me, because in my head I was thinking, oh, the inner child isn't going to agree to that. The person observing this conversation going down was like, we're not going to agree to that. But the inner child was actually like, okay, yes, I can do anything I set my mind to, and I can set a schedule. I can do this. And then my inner child went on to kind of state what it needs more of. And I was surprised about that as well. It said, okay, well, it's not only needing a routine or a plan to write, I also need time to play. And I'm saying real play, not going outdoors for exercise, which is true. I tend to spend my time outdoors, I like to be outdoors a lot, but I do it at the same time that I exercise. So I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone, right? So I exercise and I get time to spend outdoors. My inner child was saying, I want playtime outdoors for the sake of play. And don't try to make playtime about getting creative ideas either. It's just about playing. And my inner parent was like, okay, let's do that. We can do this. And then it was like this beautiful integration of what the parent needs and what the child needs. And I just felt so light after. And honestly, I've gotten the courage to start writing again. And that's been really, really cool for me. I know that this technique seems silly. I've said it 10 times, but like in my vlogs, like how I tell you guys that I always have to preface with, I know this sounds crazy. I do that because there are people out there who aren't familiar with me and aren't familiar with my work. And this might be their first video seeing me and they're going to think, oh, this lady's certifiable. So I'm conveying that I'm aware that my methods are maybe not conventional, but they're helpful, they're efficient, and they work. So I want you to, if you feel comfortable and if you feel open to it, leave in the comments below what sort of conversation you're going to have between your inner parent and your inner child, because it might really get the gears moving for somebody out there who's not really sure what kind of conversation they want to have. That's why I shared with you guys my personal experience, because I was hoping that that would inspire you to have the conversation yourself as well. And if you have kind of like a quirky, funny, cute technique to do some shadow work and inner child healing work that you want to share with others, leave that in the comment below. If you don't want to do either of those things, but you love me, please leave me some love. I'll leave you some love back. If you enjoyed this video and it was helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, but you keep watching the videos, what are you waiting for, bubbas? Subscribe, join the B community. I love you. Until next time, as always, keep your vibrations way, way, way up. Bye.